All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for being on the webinar tonight. My name is Scott, and I'm excited that you have joined us. We've got some very exciting information we want to get into. And let me just let you know off the top that the purpose of this webinar is to introduce you to something that we believe is going to be history in the making. We are about 30 to 60 days away from a technology being introduced into the marketplace that we believe is going to be the most disruptive technology since the introduction of the iPhone. Now, my background, just so you know, has been in technology. I've been in the technology industry for well over 20 years, and I have seen a lot of things. And I have never been more excited about an idea than the idea that I'm going to share with you right now. And the company that is behind the concept we're going to share with you tonight is a little more than 10 years old. And this company I have been a part of for the last 8 years. And we have seen explosive growth inside our organization. For the last 10 years, we have had year-over-year record growth. In fact, for more than 5 years, we have had annual year-over-year growth every single month consecutively for more than 5 years. There's almost no company in America that can say that. We are going to do roughly $1 billion in revenue this year as just an 11-year-old company. And having said all that, we believe that that growth is going to pale in comparison to what's about to happen because of what we're about to introduce. Now, I want to talk about what we've done, and I want to talk about where we're going. I want to introduce this technology to you, but in order to do that, I need to give you some background. I need to give you some perspective so you can appreciate how we've arrived at this point, and then I'm going to explain what this is going to mean to you moving forward. So let me just give you a little background on this organization, because the organization that is inventing this technology and bringing it to the marketplace actually never intended to be a technology organization. You see, what happened was 11 years ago, some guys introduced a concept that was a basic travel idea. And I'm going to explain that briefly so you can get the picture of where we've come from. And what that has led to is the introduction of a piece of technology that's going to look just like this right here. Now, this may look like a credit card. It is not. It is a very advanced computer that you can hold in your hand. And again, I'm going to get into all the details as we go through this. So let me explain where we've come from. You see, it would be important for you to maybe have a frame of reference. And something that we all know is Apple Computer. And if we remember back to mid-98, Apple was not in a good place. Apple had just gone through one of its worst periods in its history, and it had asked for, or it had brought back into the company Steve Jobs, its original CEO that had been kicked out. They brought Steve back into the company to try to resurrect the company. And Steve introduced a brand new concept called the iMac. And the iMac became a little bit of a revolution. And at the time, the iMac changed a lot of things within the personal computing space. Having said that, the iMac captured a very, very small market share. At the time that Steve took over, Apple had less than 0.5% market share in the personal computing space. And with the introduction of the iMac and a few other Macs around the 98 timeframe, they were able to get that to about 1% of the market. Not a lot to write home about. Fast forward, though, to 2001, and Apple introduced a game-changing little device called the iPod. And more than just the iPod itself, they introduced something called iTunes. And so there was this ecosystem where the iPod was the way to carry the songs in your pocket, and iTunes was the way to access any song you would want and instantly get it onto the iPod. Well, what happened is millions of consumers purchased the iPod who did not own Macs. And in doing so, they were brought into the Mac world. Now, they could use the iPod standalone, but what they found is that they were leaving a lot of benefits on the table. And so many of those millions of users went and purchased Macs to accentuate the experience that they got with the iPod. Well, at that point, Mac's market share started growing in a very, very rapid rate. Then fast forward to June of 2007, and the technology that has changed all of our lives, the smartphone, hit the market. It was the iPhone 1, and no one had ever seen anything like it. No one even understood how it would work. And today we can't imagine life without it. The big giant corporations like Motorola and Nokia that were dominating the landscape, they disappeared in 24 to 36 months because of how powerful and game-changing the iPhone concept was. And of course, the Android followed about a year later, and the smartphone revolution took place. Well, millions and millions of people who did not have an iPod and did not have a Mac, they bought the iPhone. And in doing so, they could use the iPhone standalone. But what they discovered is that if they would go back and get a Mac, they would increase or accentuate their experience in a big way. And so what ended up happening? Apple became the #1 brand in the world. And today, Apple makes more or sells more personal computers than any other individual computer company in the world. They are the #1 personal computing device. Now, they didn't try to become the #1 personal computing device by selling more computers. They came at it with a Trojan horse called the iPod and the iPhone. Well, keep that in mind as I introduce you to what we have done in our history as we lead into explaining this technology. You see, in 2005, we introduced a concept called dream trips. And the dream trip concept was something that no one had ever seen before. The idea was a stress-free vacation on your existing budget. And at the time, we only were in the United States. At the time, we only had a few trips that our members could take. And let me just explain what I mean by that. You see, this dream trip concept is a club. It's a country club for people who like to experience life to the fullest. It's a gym membership for world-class, priceless memories and vacations. And so when you become a member of this club, you have access to these world-class experiences that we call dream trips. And in 2005, there were not very many of them. There were only a few, and we only had a few thousand members. Well, if you fast forward today, we have become the largest travel club in the world. We have 29 different markets with 2 million users or 2 million members around the world taking tens of thousands of dream trips a year. We're based in Plano, Texas. As I said, we have had absolutely explosive growth. This is a picture of our world headquarters building, which is just one facility that we operate. We've got headquarters for every major continent we're on, in Asia, in Australia, in Europe, and in Africa. And we're growing like crazy. We've been on the Inc. 5000 list several years in a row for the fastest growing corporations in the world. And our club has grown so fast because of basically 4 pillars. First was a pricing. You know, we didn't need to make money on the trips. We made our money on the membership fee itself, and therefore we could offer prices that you couldn't touch anywhere else in the marketplace. In fact, we had a thing called the Dream Price Promise that said, if you're a member of our club, you get the guaranteed lowest price on your trips or you go free. It's the most aggressive guarantee in travel. And then on top of that, we had world-class experiences. Again, it was all about being stress-free as a member of our club. So we take care of all the planning for you. We put the excursions together. We put the special dinners together. We pick you up from the airport. We get you back to the airport. We have our employees there to pamper you when you're on site and be your liaison to your resort or your cruise ship or whatever the particular experience may entail. And so it was a magical combination because we had world-class experiences. These weren't cheap experiences. These were vacation experiences that the average consumer could never hope to build on their own. And yet, they were doing it at prices that were lower than what they would have normally spent on one of their average vacations. But then we added to that something that really set this thing off in a big way. And this was kind of our iPod, if you will. This was our iTunes, and it was the Vacation Reward Program. What we started allowing our members to do is to take 100% of what they spent on their membership and put it in a cloud. And essentially, every dime a member spends, they actually keep to spend on dream vacations. And my point tonight is not to get into the membership in detail, but just as an example, we have 3 levels of membership. If you become a gold member, that's $200 one time and then $50 a month. And yet all of that goes into your cloud. So when you're ready to take a dream vacation, you just take the already guaranteed low dream trip price and you apply the money you're spending to be a member against that price, and it reduces the price of the dream trip. And so it became essentially a no-brainer to be a member because 100% of what you're spending, you are keeping. This concept is very, very important because it was a turning point for us, and it was also the seed that led to the technology that I'm going to introduce to you momentarily. And that led, of course, to millions of people all over the world taking dream vacations. And we have this little "You Should Be Here" sign. It went viral. We've got millions of photographs of people on dream vacations all over the world holding that sign and posting it to social media. Well, at that point, it led us to the fourth part. And the fourth part is the fact that we can now earn our way onto a vacation. We extended the reward program out, and what we wanted to allow people to do is to be able to get the lifestyle they've dreamed of on the habits that they've already got. And so what happened then is this: you could then start to earn reward points, not just simply by joining the membership and spending money on the membership, but also by sharing this membership with other people. If you shared it with other people, you earn reward points for every member you would refer. But then it went into shopping. And today we've got more than 4,000 retailers that we partner with. And these are places you probably shop today. It's places like Walmart and Target and Best Buy and Gap and Nordstrom and Victoria's Secret and Cabela's and Lowe's and GameStop and Home Depot. And when you shop at these places, a percentage of everything you spend comes back to you in the form of reward points that are in your cloud to spend against that already guaranteed low Dream Trips price. And then we took it a step further. We went beyond shopping to something we call Dream Trips Local. And the first ingredient in local is the dining program. We are creating partnerships with thousands of restaurants around the world. And when our members go into these restaurants, they are able to get treated like a VIP. But then in addition to that, a percentage of everything they spend on their meal comes back to them in the form of points to spend on dream vacations. Well, it was at this point that we had created a problem for ourselves. And big money is made by solving big problems. And the problem was simply this: when we had the reward program and it was all within our company, it was easy to operate and provide a world-class experience to our member. You see, if you're giving the company the money for your membership and then you're buying a trip from the company, it's easy for us to exchange that from what you've given us, take it out of your cloud and apply it to your trip. But when we start going out and having transactions that are what we call over the counter, meaning you're out at a restaurant, you're in a spa, you're on a golf course, you're at the mall, it became more difficult to ensure a seamless experience for the member. And that's what it's all about, is world-class, seamless, stress-free experiences. How do we make sure you get instantaneous credit for all those points, that they're available in your account, that you can use them when you want, that you can track them? Well, when it's somebody else's money, when you're giving someone else the money, it became more difficult. So we thought of a number of ways we could solve this problem. The first thing we thought of is, well, we could do some sort of co-branded credit card. And that had its number of challenges. I mean, first of all, maybe not everybody would qualify for the card. You know, we wanted 100% of our members to be able to participate fully in the program, and we just couldn't risk, if some members weren't qualified for that particular credit card, that they would be cut out of the reward program. So that was one challenge. The other challenge, of course, is that people already have credit cards they like, whether it's your Capital One Venture card or your Chase Sapphire card or your Amex Platinum card. People already like the cards they have. And one of the cool advantages of our program was that we allowed people to double dip. For instance, when you shop today, a lot of people already have a reward card that they earn points for travel or cash back or whatever when they shop. Well, what was cool is they would shop with that credit card, but we would still give them our points on top of that. Again, it made it a no-brainer to be a member. We wanted to keep that ingredient intact. So we just racked our brain, like, how could we figure it out? What could we do? And that's what led us to this little guy right here. We call it the Flye card. It is what is going to be known in the technology industry generically as a smart card. And I will tell you that this technology will be ubiquitous within the next 24 to 36 months. What I mean by that is this: everyone you know is going to carry some version of a smart card in their pocket, in their purse, in their wallet, and it will be their sole source of payment or their primary source of paying for everything. Just like a few years ago, people wanted to have a flip phone and everybody had a Nokia or a Motorola, and then all of a sudden everybody was carrying a smartphone and the old way was gone forever. It went the way of the dinosaur. Using a plastic credit card is going to have the same feel. In 36 months, everyone will be using some version of a smart card. We are going to be the first to the market. We should be first by at least 9 months, if not longer. And then over the next 2 years, other competitors are going to enter the space. But we have first mover advantage. We have 2 million active members who can be customers on day one. It's a user base that's untouchable in this space. And we have an ecosystem that gives us an unparalleled advantage. What does this card do? It's a computer that is the exact same size as a credit card. It's got very advanced technologies in it. Bluetooth, near field communication. It's got multiple processors. It has the most advanced biometric security ever developed in the technology space. And you load every single payment method you have in your wallet or purse through an app into your smart card. And so whether it be your credit cards, your debit cards, things like your Starbucks card that you buy coffee with, all of it goes into one card. It is ultra, ultra secure. It is infinitely more secure than anything you're carrying in your wallet today. It is also ultra convenient. Whether you have ever thought about this or not, for instance, if you lose your wallet, if you lose your purse, you have to replace all those credit cards. And it's not just the process of canceling and then getting the new cards sent to you. It's remembering where you've set up all the auto pays and going and setting all that. Well, with us, with this card, if you were to lose the smart card, first of all, you can wipe it clean within your app. Nobody can do anything with the information. And secondly, you haven't lost anything. They just send you a new card, you resync it with your phone, and the next thing you know, you're back in business. You haven't had to call your bank or credit card companies even a single time. We've got beacon technology, which is going to allow us to offer our card holders really cool, unique opportunities for savings, for perks, for bonuses, for fun events that we can do that are kind of scavenger hunt style events within a given environment. And so that's all going to be a part of it. And of course, we've also got a way where when our users of the smart card are using these cards for transactions, we're going to be able to reward them on virtually any transaction that goes through the smart card. So this technology is going to launch within the next 30 to 60 days to our members. And then from the members, it's going to then go to the general public. So sometime in Q1 next year, 2017, it will be available to the general public. You have an opportunity tonight to be one of the first users in the world of the very first smart card in the world. You can be an iPhone 1 user. How do you do that? Well, you would need to be a member of our club, because being a member will enable you to be in the first group of people that gets the card. We are going to give our cards to our members first, because they're the ones who have been with us, and that's how we got here. And then you also could actually increase or step up when you get the card even ahead of the members. How would you do that? Well, we have a beta test going on right now, and it's a very, very small group. It's a couple thousand people that are beta testing the cards right now. And we're going to go to a second tier of our beta test. And in the second tier, we are going to allow anyone who this month has referred a customer to our club to get the new batch of cards. So we've got the beta test now. We've got the members who are going to get the cards here in 30 to 60 days. But in between the beta test happening now and those members getting the cards, anybody who refers a member is going to be able to get the very next shipment of cards that goes out and participate in that second tier of beta testing. So it's very, very simple. Just become a member and then help us refer a member to our club, and you can be one of the first people in the world to have one of these Flye cards. There's 3 levels of membership. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it right now. The person who invited you on this webinar can give you all the details on each level of membership. Just remember that whatever level you join, 100% of what you spend goes into the cloud to spend on dream vacations. Now, some of you are probably saying, how could I take advantage of this technology? Is there a way I could actually profit from this technology, that I could actually earn income on the growth of this space? And the answer is absolutely yes. And this is why I am so fired up. This is why I believe we are sitting at a very, very historic moment. Let me just tell you a story. You see, in every technology space, there are what are known as early adopters. And the early adopters are the ones who are going to get the technology before everyone else, and they don't need all the questions answered. They don't need to know how everything works. In fact, they expect that sometimes it won't all work. And they're willing to accept some of that to be one of the first people in the world that have it. We all know these people. They're the ones who they wait in line to get the first phone, the newest Bluetooth headset, the newest laptop, the newest audio device, whatever, the newest camera. These people are early adopters. Well, I am that kind of person. And I was one of the first people to order an iPhone. I had the pre-order of the iPhone 1. I picked it up on the day that they came out. And I can remember walking around, and people would come up to me and they would ask me, they would say, Scott, is that one of those iPhones? What is it? How does it work? Do you like it? What makes it different from a normal phone? Because they'd never seen anything like it. And I would explain it to them, and I would talk about how passionate I was about how this was going to change everything. And people would get excited about it, and they would go away and they would get phones. Now, let me just ask you this. Who really sold all the iPhones? Was it Apple, or was it the early adopters of the phone? My contention is that it was the early adopters. See, Apple sold people like me, but then I and people like me showed the phone to other people, and that's what made them want one. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to be paid on all those iPhones that I caused to be sold. But today, I'm ahead of a new revolution, the next most disruptive technology to ever enter the marketplace. And this time, I can profit on every single one of these devices. And so can you. Let me explain how. You see, for $100 one time and then $20 a month, you can have your own multinational, multi-million-dollar technology company. You can be somebody who can have the exclusive rights to market and distribute the Flye card. And we're going to teach you how to do this. We're going to give you systems and tools and websites. And we're going to even show you a little bit later in this webinar a very, very simple technique to get this information in front of people right away so that you can begin to profit even tonight from this information. But just like the Apple evolution caused, when they got to the iPhone, it caused people to go back and get the Mac. That's going to happen with us too. People are going to, by the millions, adopt the Flye card who have never seen a Dream Trip presentation. They've never heard of Dream Trips. But what's going to happen? Because they own a Flye card, they're going to start to see that I'm earning points. I'm being rewarded. And if I was inside this Dream Trip ecosystem, it would be even more beneficial to me. And they're going to go back and they're going to begin to adopt Dream Trips memberships as well. So here's what's exciting. You can profit on the Flye card, which is going to go viral and is going to be very, very big in and of itself. But then as an added bonus, you're going to profit as all the people who buy Flye cards over the next 24, 36 months start to upgrade and become members of our club as well. Here's how it works. You see 3 circles on the screen right now. And today, as things exist, only the 2 in the center are in operation. You see, right now we have customers. These are the members of our club. And we have the representatives who represent the club and tell people about the club so they can become a customer. Pretty soon what's going to happen is we're going to give those customers the ability to get the Flye card. They're going to be the early adopters. This would be you if you joined tonight and go to refer a club member. Well, those early adopters are going to be out in the marketplace. And just like me with the iPhone 1, what do you think is going to happen? Put yourself in the average retail environment. You're standing there at the counter and you're watching the person in front of you check out. And that person pulls what looks like a credit card out, but then they start swiping across it like it's a smartphone, and it lights up and it starts blinking. And then you see them swiping again, and then they hand it to the cashier. What is your natural inclination? You're thinking, what is that? What happens to me with the phone is people will come up to you and say, what is that? Where did you get it? What does that do? And you explain to them, this is just the way that everybody's going to pay for everything. And at that point, we as early adopters will tip over the dominoes that will lead to millions of Flye cards being sold. Well, at that point, it's out in the wild, and none of these people have ever heard of Dream Trips. They've never heard of our corporation, but here's how it will grow, because it's all based on an app on your phone. You see, when you get the Flye card, you're going to set it up through an app on your phone. When someone comes up to you and they say to you, what is that? How do I get one? You say, oh, well, you need to go to this link. And inside the app will produce a unique link that identifies the link as tracing back to you. You'll give that link to the person. They'll get on the link. They'll order their own Flye card. The Flye card will come to them, and they'll just start using it. But guess what? That person will then set up their Flye card in an app that will produce a link for them. So then they're with their spouse. They're with their business partners. They're out shopping with their friends. And their friends see the Flye card, and they say, I want one of those. How do I get one? Well, there's this link here. I'll send it to you. And the link goes to them. And it starts to look like this. Flye cards start begetting Flye cards that beget Flye cards. Now, none of these people are representatives. They're just adopters. They're people with the iPhone, and people are coming up to them saying, what is that phone? How does it work? They're saying, what is that card? How does it work? How do I get one? Oh, you got to go to this link. Oh, you got to go to this link. Oh, you got to go to this link. And as that link keeps getting handed out, there's only one rep in the picture. That's you, the person who tipped over the first domino. And so you're going to be able to be paid commissions on every single one of these cards that comes back to you on infinite generations of cards. Now that's very, very exciting. There's a lot of wealth that could get created right there, but we're only scratching the surface, because the way our compensation plan works is much like a real estate broker and agent model. And when you get started, you are going to be in a chain in which other reps can be placed. And when those reps are placed in that chain, they can tip over dominoes that lead to cards being sold. And every time those cards are sold, you're collecting an override on those cards as well. And that is also to infinite generations of depth. So you're getting paid bonuses and commissions on the cards that come back through your link that you personally have tipped over some dominoes, and those people tell people who tell people who tell people. That's going left and right, bringing income back into your family. But you're also getting an override on infinite generations of depth of other reps who join the chain and begin to share the Flye card with other people. This thing, people, is absolutely lights out, going to change family trees forever. We've got a system. We will teach you how to do this. More importantly, we will do this with you. In fact, we've got live events that are going to be going live around the country and ultimately around the world, teaching people how to take advantage of this opportunity and make the most of this launch. And of course, the marketing of the other products we offer, including our Dream Trips membership. Now, guys, let me make something very clear. This is not a lottery ticket. This is a legitimate business. We've been working on the Flye card now for more than 3 years. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars developing this technology. We've got multiple patents, and we're simply allowing you to become like a franchise owner of what the Flye card growth is going to come from. But if you don't do anything, if you don't take advantage of our training system, if you don't put any of our coaching into practice, you're not going to make any money. We have something called an income disclosure statement. It shows you the incomes that people are making at each rank in our company right now for representatives. And this income is only based on Dream Trip membership sales, because the Flye card hasn't started being sold yet. So just imagine what the incomes could look like once we add the Flye card into the equation. There's 3 ways for you to get started. One is for you to be a standard gold or platinum member only. and simply enjoy the benefits of the Flye card. And of course, like I said, this technology will be universal. 24 months from now, everybody you know will be paying for everything with something like this. It may not be ours, but it'll be something like this. You could just simply be first to the game and be enjoying those benefits before any of your friends. And of course, you can enjoy the benefits of being a part of the largest and coolest travel club in the world. Something I didn't mention before is that if you refer 4 members to our club over any period of time, your monthly fees to be in the club are actually waived, which is another really cool perk. The second way you can get started is simply becoming a representative. And again, as I said before, this is a totally optional part of our program. So you don't need to be a representative. You could just be a member, just enjoy the benefits of being a Flye card customer. But if you wanted to profit from it, you would need to be a representative, and that's $100 once, $20 a month when you refer 4 customers. The $20 a month as a representative is also waived. Or you could actually do both, become both a customer and become a representative. And so I'm going to wrap up with this, guys. We're sitting at a very historic time. There will be one time in history that we turn the lights on this idea. There will be before the Flye card goes live and after the Flye card goes live. Let me give you a little time frame of what's about to happen. Over the next 30 days, we are going to introduce tier 2 of that beta program. It will be the members who have referred a member this month that get to have the card first. That's the next batch that goes out. Once that beta test is done, in Q1 of next year, early next year, we anticipate mid to late January, that's when we will start to allow all the members to get the card. And then towards the end of Q1 is when it will go live to everyone in the world. And at that point, it will go absolutely viral. Those links will keep being shared, and everyone who's tipped over some dominoes is going to be really, really glad that they got involved in this idea.